Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Power Moves, the podcast where we introduce you not only to successful entrepreneurs, but give you a peek inside exactly what they did to become so successful. And of course, be an amplifier for their message to the world. Today's guest is Dharma Fausett, mompreneur, creator, military spouse, an expat living in France, and an advocate for women's mental health. Today, we're talking about motherhood, mental health, confidence, purpose, identity, and why so many women are living in survival mode when they are meant to thrive. Hello, Dharma. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Hi, thank you. I love that intro. It was a mouthful, but you did fantastic.
It was a mouthful. You represent a lot of things, so I had
I
to make
do.
sure I crammed in everything. So, Dharma, I've known you for some years and we've
Mhm.
had some great times together. We've done our own podcasts or lives, I should say. We've also done some work together in your career and field. So, it's great having you here. I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience so they can get more context on exactly what it is you do and your background.
Yeah, thank you so much. So definitely you and I have worked together. You helped me out with some business things years ago, which by the way, I'm still implementing a lot of the stuff that I learned with you.
Oh, that
So
makes
thank
me
you for
happy.
that. Yeah, absolutely. And part of why I think it was like a mouthful to introduce me is because being in the industry as like an entrepreneur for it's like 7 years now, going on 8. You try to like niche down and have like the one thing that you're really good at. Um,
Hmm.
but also life changes. So when I started, I was just a wellness person, but then I became a mom, and then I moved across the to another country, and then I shifted from wellness to beauty. It's like so many things happen, but I love that like our world just expands and we can do more things, and that's like what I do. I specialize at this point in helping women specifically. Could I help men? Of course. Like a human is a human. But I'd
Hmm.
specifically love to help women just find their voice and become confident and powerful in whatever it is that they want to do.
I love that. And I didn't know that you and I started our entrepreneurial journeys around the same time because I also started working for myself 8 years ago. So I caught that. I thought that was very special. But what else is special is that I've worked with I have a good balance of men to women clients that I work with. And obviously my wife and I work together, but we have 4 kids going on a fifth one. My wife is a huge advocate for humanitarian rights and not one to just sit down and be quiet and just be a quote unquote mom, even though that in of itself is a huge role and job. But she's viewed it as that is one very important sliver of my life, but I have so much more to say and so much more to do. And I'm not going to necessarily put that aside. I want to set an example for my kids and pursue my dreams while also raising them at the same time. So I love having another similar voice on the show to serve as an example to our audience.
Love
So,
that.
yes.
That's perfect. That's exactly how I would describe it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for yourself, you just took us on a good kind of like step by step walkthrough of your journey, but kind of going back to the beginning. So, did you start out your career as an entrepreneur? Did you start working for someone else? Let's go back to the beginning.
I I always worked for someone else. Recently, I was filling out like my different careers for like a post I was doing, and it was like I've worked as this. I've even been like a janitor. Like I've literally done
Oh, wow.
everything.
So, you've
Literally,
gotten your hands dirty in multiple respects.
yes, yes. So many different types of work. And then when I met my husband in Nashville, my husband's in the Army, the US Army. And so I know every military spouse out there that is listening will resonate with me. There is a sense of you kind of have to pause your life to serve the Army in my own way. Even though I'm not
Mm.
enlisted, it is this like, because we have to move every 3 years, and I have to be willing to have my husband called off at any time to go work, and early mornings, late nights, very intense. Um, so I had my whole life going in Nashville, and then we got married and we moved to Hawaii, which no complaints. It was fabulous. But all those careers and things, like, they're stopped. Now I'm in a
Sure.
brand new place, no family, no friends, nothing. For the first time, I was 20, maybe 24 or something like that. Um, and I had to find my voice and find my new
Hmm.
purpose. And how it started was like, I was like, I want to become an influencer. I
There
think
we
this
go.
is when the social media game was beginning on
Totally.
YouTube and Instagram. And I remember I was at 500 Instagram followers when I decided I'm going to
Mm.
become an influencer.
And so that was when you moved to Hawaii.
And that's where it all began. Because from there, so I enrolled in a course to become an influencer. You know, I paid for it and I was taking classes and everything. And then I was like, okay, I have really bad acne. I want to help women get rid of their acne naturally. I'm going to do it. And
Hmm.
then I'm going to teach others how to do it. So then that kind of put me in the wellness industry and fixing it through a 30-day program that I was doing. I partnered with a brand. And from there, it's just 7 years of entrepreneurship.
Wow. Okay. And you've stuck with the same brand throughout this whole time?
No, I did make a switch to a
Okay.
beauty brand 3 years ago.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, that's right. I remember health over to beauty. Great. You know,
Yeah,
that is, it's always an appealing model and appealing idea to work from home, especially, I think, as a woman, because you're wearing so many hats. So having that flexibility, being able to do it remotely. And I feel like you have to really develop your skill set to do well with it, because otherwise, I imagine it could be like a failed start, a failed hope for some people.
for sure. And that's part of what you helped me with when we were coaching was like, how do I work from home? Like, this is
Right.
so hard. How do you stay
Right.
disciplined when it's so easy to like get lazy or get distracted?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you also went through the COVID period, I think, during that time too.
Mhm.
So even if you were disciplined and working from an office, that extra dynamic of having to work remotely and from home is just a killer, right?
It,
Keeping those
yeah.
same routines and whatnot.
Mhm.
So, you know, for yourself, you've been in this game for a long time. What would you say was like some of the defining moments that kept you grounded and willing to still persist through that for so long?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because one of the things I wanted to make sure I communicated, especially when you were like, how they attain success and all of this, is like, if there's one thing I feel defines my success is that I've never quit.
Mm.
Like I've had to pivot, but never
Mhm.
fully quit where I'm like, oh, I'm just never going to do entrepreneurship. I don't want my own business. I'm just going to work the 9 to 5 again. You know, this is too hard.
Mhm.
So I want that to be like a big thing. I've never heard of a successful entrepreneur that was like, it was so hard and I just never quit. Like, I feel like that's part of it, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I lost the question though, because I that answered it part of it, but I feel
Oh,
like you
okay.
asked more. Can you
Yeah, I
repeat?
was curious for you, like, were there any defining moments? Because I would say, just as you mentioned, there are definitely a lot of blows and hits you take as an entrepreneur, and it is an endurance game. And a lot of time you have to have a purpose or a why that's greater than the hardship and the difficulty. What is the reward on the other end of all that adversity that someone is so connected to that makes it worth it? So I guess I was curious for you, you know, what were those things, and were there any defining moments where things really clicked, I guess, for you in this?
Interesting. That is what I was going to say before I got sidetracked with the quitting thing is that you need to
Yeah.
have that connection and that purpose. Like, it's something you want to do for yourself. Because when it gets hard, then you keep going because it's not someone's making you do it. You want to make this happen.
Hmm.
Um, Pivotal moments, really what comes to mind more than pivotal moments that made it click is I started thinking of all the barriers and things that I faced, not just in business, but also in life,
Hmm.
that would have made it okay or justifiable to quit.
Mm.
And just the fact, I think every time I didn't quit, when everything was pointing towards quitting, that's like a little pivotal moment right there, right? So it's like
Hmm.
an addition of many pivotal moments where you
Yeah.
don't quit and you keep going, and then you're so happy that you didn't quit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, myself personally, there have been, it's funny, there were years where things were just always a level up pretty much each year, financially, but also like the sphere of responsibility and reach. But before every level up, there was a period of really intense hardship that came right before it.
Mhm.
So, like the first one I would say is when my wife and I, we've taken turns being where like I'm the breadwinner, she's the breadwinner. We're both building two different things at the same time. We're both building the same thing at the same time. Like we've gone through different iterations. But back in our first year of marriage, we were both simultaneously building different things. And then she had gotten pregnant and she had the most intense morning sickness. Like the first 3 months was completely awful and it threw her off her game with her business. And she had clients, and I had to somewhat like step in to help with
Um,
that. And it felt like we were trying to just keep the building from falling apart. And it was so intense. But we always joke about our first daughter being like the money god because we obviously pushed through it. And, we had our highest level of success that year. And we've continued to have these different loops and whatnot. I'm curious for you, do you have some examples of like those pivotal moments or those like, oh, I gotta keep pushing through. This is a grind, but I gotta get through it because there's something greater on the other end.
yeah, absolutely. I think my business, my industry specifically, I feel like it happens in 3 month cycles.
Mm,
So if you, and that might be common for other industries too, but like if you grind for 3 months, it might
mm,
feel like nothing's happening. Like, wow, all this reach and nothing and rejection
yeah,
and nothing. And then at the end of the 3 months, it's like a waterfall. And you're like,
really.
oh my gosh, like, wow, it all, and then that point you're like, it's so easy.
Mm,
And that's where that like condition, which is something that people can learn through you, that you helped me with, of you
hmm,
have an affluence, you have that affluence, and there's those specific steps that you
hmm.
want to follow so that you don't go through the valleys and peaks.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
so I agree, for me, like, you have kind of that grind, and then you see the big results, and then you forget that you put in all that work, right? You're like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, it's so effortless, and all these leads and these closes, and then you're like, oh yeah, I've been like consistent. That consistency
totally.
is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I was at a Grant Cardone conference. He said this a couple times I've gone, but still, he had said, the money that you get today is not from the work you did today. That's actually from money, or sorry, from work you've done in the past. And so I always think about that for my clients, but also myself, is whenever I've hit a valley, it's because earlier there was some inconsistency in like my promotion or my follow through or just doing the right things. And so if you want to avoid those huge drops, it really does come from just, okay, what are my successful actions? Good. I keep doing those. I don't let them drop out. Obviously, we live in a planet where nothing stays the same. So we're going to have some hurdles that might throw us off the game. But I think that awareness is really the unlock, because you can do everything you can within your control to try and prevent that. You can hire staff, you can build in systems and stuff like that. But still, things will change and happen. But if you have an awareness about that, you're less to go through the emotional roller coaster. And it's more like, oh, I know what happened. Okay, cool. Let me fix that. It's going to suck for the next couple weeks maybe, but I can believe that there's some good stuff on the other end.
Love. And 100%. I thought of a change log. Do you
Yeah.
keep a change log?
So I do.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And I tell
For
my
listeners,
team,
do you want to explain what you do?
yes. So I keep it really simple. Almost 99.9% of what I do has to be from my phone because working from anywhere, I could need my phone. I could work while I'm at the bus stop, so I need to have everything accessible. So I use a Pages, I think it's the app on iPhone, and I
Sure.
literally type changelog
Mm.
2026. And then at the end of the day, it's kind of my little homework to look through and see, did I do anything today that's different? Were there any changes that may or may not affect my business?
Mm-hmm.
And I note that down. So it could be started new campaign on TikTok, and I'm now posting 3 times a day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a change. It could be, um, um, for me, Sean is out of town and I'm solo parenting for 3 weeks because that's a
Mm.
change, right? So
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad, there's some sort of change. And I cannot tell you the amount of times, if you keep tracking your numbers, which is part 2 of this, like in order to be able, like you say, to be aware, you want to keep a change log and you want to keep your numbers
Mm-hmm.
because you say, man, like back in April, I had that spike. Like what caused that spike? And so I'll go and I'll look at April and I'll look up to 3 months because, like we said, it runs in cycles from
Mm-hmm.
April. And I'm like, what were the changes? And then I'll usually pinpoint it. Man, I was doing my weekly check-in with my clients, and that newsletter, and it totally dropped out because for whatever reason. And
Sure.
so you just re-implement it and boom, you get the
Yeah.
results again. And so you can take your emotion out of it because you can see this is what happened, this is the result, and then you just get it back in. And I love that. And that's so important
Yeah.
to have consistency and longevity with a business, because if you let your emotions get involved, game
Yeah,
over.
because you're making changes. I mean, unless you keep track of it, you could be making changes all the time and not even remember what you changed. I mean, some
No.
people can't remember what they had for breakfast. So it's like that is a do or die kind of bare minimum that you have to do. And, what's great about it is it's like journaling, but like you said, it's focusing on the actual observations or factual changes, not just like, how am I feeling today?
Right.
Which, you know, cool. That might have some substance for the person, but it's like, okay, well, what did you do? What did you
Mm-hmm.
change? What did you try to do? So I
Love
love that
that.
you keep that. Now, for yourself, you so you went on this journey and then you became a mom. How did that impact? How did that change things up for you? What did you have to do differently in your business?
It definitely changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was turned upside down because now my time was no longer my own,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And that was my personal choice. I know women that 6 weeks postpartum have the kid in daycare and they go back to working 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you go home and you're definitely more tired. We can get into breastfeeding and the night routines. And so you're just more tired.
Mm-hmm.
But some women jump right back to their schedule and their production.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was very important that I stay at home with my son as long as humanly possible until he had to go to school. Like that's just my personal choice. So
Mm-hmm.
now, instead of waking up and going to the gym and doing my morning routine and writing out my plan and jumping in and hitting the day, now everything was done during nap time, or if I could
Yeah.
squeeze it in. So the biggest thing is just numbers dropped, like production dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which then affects morale, which is something very important. If you're not producing, you're not going to really feel that great. And as a
Mm-hmm.
mom that was a prior entrepreneur, which is why there is such a thing as a mompreneur, um, you have to really be very self-aware that your time with your child is production.
Mm-hmm.
That's the future of humanity.
Right.
like you pouring yourself into this child. So that was a huge mind shift that happened for me when my son, I was actually doing like counseling and had to come to this realization through being in a
Mm-hmm.
session. And I was like, oh wow, like, you know, like this thing that I had to hustle and hustle, and the only hustle that mattered was the hustling in a business, was like,
Yeah,
you can hustle in other areas of life and that's still production. So then you still feel good
totally.
about it. At the end of the day, you're like, I breastfed these many times. He did his nap. I fed him these healthy foods. And then I did some self care and I did a load of laundry. Like, great. That was
Yeah,
production, you know? And then maybe it
totally.
was like, I did one reel as opposed to doing 3 reels and planning for the content of the future, you know? So
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing, is I just had to accept that the season of life right now is the number one responsibility is motherhood. And then
Mm-hmm.
business is squeezed in. And my
Mm-hmm.
time will come where my baby is no longer a baby. And all my time,
Faster than we all
I
think.
know, I know. And my time will be all of my own again, and I'll miss having him. So it's just that self awareness, being in
Sure.
present time, and doing what you're doing when you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I continue to have conversations with very different people in terms of like what they're focused on and what they're doing, what their interests are. And so, like, the combined common denominator that I'm finding with each of these successful entrepreneurs is they know what their ideal life is. They know the hats they want to wear. They know the games they want to play. And so growing their business isn't this, hey, you're either all in or you're not.
Mm,
I feel that is the case for the person that actually wants that,
mm,
right? The person that's like, this is my thing. This is what I'm giving all my attention to. And that is their choice and that is their intention. And
mm,
that is completely their right to do. And there's nothing wrong with it.
mhm,
There is this whole hustle culture mentality where it almost can be like a misnomer that that is the only way to grow a
mhm,
business. Because I know many very successful entrepreneurs that do so while raising a family, while focusing on their health, making sure they get enough sleep, they're exercising, they're taking good care of themselves spiritually, they're doing humanitarian stuff. Like, there's no one way of doing it. There are some core principles such as like, hey, knowing what you want to do, knowing what goals are important to you, not compromising on your core beliefs or your ethics, right? Being consistent, never giving up. These things are more important than are you going all in on one aspect of your life versus creating on multiple.
yeah,
That whole saying
absolutely.
of how you do one thing is how you do everything. Well, good. You don't have to just do one thing. Do
Right.
everything you want to do.
Exactly. You can create on everything. And I think of this, maybe it's morbid, but I'm like on my deathbed, when I
Mm,
look back, because I want to live to like 102. Um,
very specific number.
I want to know that, you know, like what's going to matter. What really is going to matter is that my kids are happy. I had
Hmm.
a fulfilling, you know, marriage, that I helped my community, that I made the world a better place. And
Hmm.
not necessarily how much is on my in my bank account at that point, but maybe how much I invested and the legacy I'm leaving behind. So I agree
Yeah.
with you. It's about building all of it,
Right.
and which goes into taking care of myself physically so I can live to be 102, you know, not kill myself off. Because like you're saying, you so many entrepreneurs, you know, they don't sleep, they don't
Yeah.
eat good. Like,
Right.
let's not do that. Let's think in futures. And you know, you want to be
Yeah.
60, 70, 80, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think as long as you pursue each thing with professionalism and
Mm,
targets and you're setting like your standards of excellence, then that's fine. That's the way to do it.
mm-hmm,
Not
mm-hmm,
I'm half-assing a bunch of stuff and I'm kind of just being a generalist or a hobbyist at different things, but like, be the
mm-hmm.
best mom you can be the best, mentor that you can be the best friend you can be, all these things. Like, good. To your point, at the end of it all, how would I have wanted that to go? good, work in the direction of that, not within the current circumstances or whatever.
I agree. I agree. And it's seeing things in gradients. Like,
Mm,
we want to be at the top of the mountain, but you got to do each step. So, kind of being aware when you accomplish the little steps that'll get you eventually in the future to the top of
yeah.
the mountain. And a friend of mine, Michael Lewis, he says, judge yourself by your successes.
Mm,
I love that because we can be very hard on ourselves. And like,
mm.
oh, but like, I failed that person and now I'm like, you're judging yourself on that failure. I'm a bad person, but it's like we've all done so many great things. We have so many successes. Let's judge, like ignore the losses and make those wins and those successes the
Mm.
thing. That's important too.
Yeah, that really impinged on me because it's like my attention is always towards what's the next thing or what's the current thing to like handle or address. Not that I'm like so enveloped in problems or anything, but I'm very much
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, good, next thing. Okay, good, next thing. But not as like this pity party, make it reasonable or okay that I'm not doing well because of my success in the past, but actually like, oh wow, like look what I've created. I have this family of 4 going on 5. Like my kids are homeschooled. My wife is doing a bunch of things that gives her passion and joy. Like I come to a warm, loving home. Everyone like cares about each other and we're doing great things. And it's like, even though there's so much more I want to do, it's like just this alone is a huge win.
Exactly. I agree. And I think everybody can relate. We see so much. I think it's because we see our potential, right? And I think
Mm,
that's one of the things of an entrepreneur is like you kind of live in this la la fantasy land of imagination and create and possibility. So I know my potential is like 100x what I'm doing now. But that doesn't mean that what I have accomplished isn't valid. Like we'll get there.
yeah,
We're working our way up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, for you, you had mentioned that becoming a mom made you realize that women need more than survival mode. Can you tell me more about that realization?
Yeah, it's very basic, really. It's sleep and food, two vital necessities that are needed to not only survive physically, but mentally, and just like be even able to be in a good mood. And I feel like as mothers, specifically postpartum, newborn, baby life, it can get really easy to like just be in like barely surviving and you're not sleeping and all you eat is I catch myself sometimes like my breakfast is my son's leftovers.
Yeah,
He didn't eat.
totally.
Every parent can relate to that. So it's about helping women. And I've started a YouTube channel and I'm working with a YouTuber who has a gajillion trillion followers. And he's like specifically helping me increase my
Wow.
voice on the subject of motherhood and women's mental health because
Hmm.
your body changes, your hormones change, which contributes to your mental health. Then you're not sleeping, then you're not eating, and then you
Hmm.
have this little human who you're so connected with. He might be triggering you in ways that you don't even realize, and vice versa.
Hmm.
So there's work to be done there. Um, and that's something that I want to help women get past because I think it's almost like a trend.
Mm.
Like if you see it on TikTok or Instagram, like the messy mom bun and you're in your pajamas and it's like mom life. And I'm like, yeah, but that shouldn't be the norm. Like
Sure.
it shouldn't. And it requires you need to create a village of like-minded women and you all support each other. That's something I'm working on here in France.
Mm.
Because no island survives alone, especially when you then are taking care of a child. So you need to have a village and anyway, I could go on and on, but you can see that's where I'm getting to, and that's what I'm wanting
Yeah,
to communicate in my platforms.
that's great. Yeah, I could see how obviously it's a badge of honor to be a mother and to like, hey, whatever it takes, whether we look or feel good, we have someone that's dependent on us, so we have to
Mm-hmm.
step up and all of that. And so that is absolutely a reality. But to your point, we can learn from working at this problem of how do I take care of myself? Because if I'm in half empty cup, a quarter empty cup, if I'm not fully taking care of myself, my kid isn't getting the best version of me, and that's the version that they deserve. Was there a moment where you realized that this was the case for yourself, or did you kind of think with that head first going into motherhood? Did you catch yourself living in that space a bit? Realize it was
No.
not okay?
So motherhood is something that I thought would be easy because I have a long history of working with children and
Mm,
infants. But there's two parts to it. There's like the taking care of the child, and then you have to somehow still have time to take care of yourself. There's ways to do it. But yeah, motherhood slapped me really hard. It was really hard. I went through the whole postpartum depression, which
mm,
again, if you're not sleeping and you're not eating and your hormones are all crazy, like, I'm sorry, that's just a recipe for, and then you're not viewing motherhood as a productive hat,
yeah,
the recipe for depression. So
right.
it was really hard. I can't quite tell you when it clicked for me,
Mm,
um, but at some point it did. At some point, like I said, I was doing a lot of counseling, so I think that all helped tremendously. I know it did.
totally.
And at some point, yeah, it was just like, and then I started getting more sleep and more food. And when
Mm-hmm.
that happens and your baby becomes more independent, then you kind of wake up to how things were and you can, now you're fixing it. But if
Mm-hmm.
we would like to have another baby in the near future, that's kind of the
Love that.
plan. I'm going to be so much better, like such a better, it's going to be so much better for me. Of course,
Totally.
it's still hard, but just sleep and eat
Mm-hmm.
and rely on your village
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy it because it does go by so fast.
Totally. Why do you think it's difficult for women to warm up to this idea of taking care of themselves in addition to or before taking care of those that are so dependent on them?
It's interesting, right? Because we should put ourselves first. Like you said, if the cup is empty, then you can't pour into your child. Um, I think in a very non-romantic way is you have the kid right there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like
Yep.
I my intention could be I'm gonna shower and I'm gonna shave my legs. Like the
Yeah.
amount of time I went without shaving my legs. But you have the baby there. Like you can't. You
Right.
physically cannot do that. You want to do your hair, but you physically have the toddler. Sometimes you can work it out, but that's where planning and having a village comes in,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can give the baby to someone you trust and put in the time to
Mm-hmm.
take care of yourself, so then you can pour back into your family.
So you feel like having a group of women that each are going through something similar is important
Yeah, or
for
having the money
everybody's success.
to hire somebody to
Sure.
help you,
A
whether
nanny.
it's cleaning the house, making the food, doing the laundry. Like, delegate. Like, you're running
Mm-hmm.
now. I actually have a family, like an organizing board, which is something
Mm-hmm.
that you and I talked about too for my business, but I have one for my family. Like, I am the head of a family organization,
Mm-hmm.
all these different divisions and departments. You have to delegate. Like, it's part of entrepreneurship. You can't do everything. You can't be accountant, customer relations, and promotion. And like,
Mm-hmm.
eventually you want to grow. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I think the village, and we go back to, I'm Puerto Rican. So for me, it's like Indios Tainos, like the Native Americans, like it was a village. The women were at
Mm-hmm.
home, the warriors would go, but you have all the villages and the kids are kind of around with everybody. Like this
Mm-hmm.
modern thing where it's a stay-at-home mom with their kids by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Mm.
But you have to create
Yeah,
it. You have to
totally.
find, because it's not there usually. So
Sure.
you have to get on Facebook. You have to join the mom groups. You have to go to the play dates. You have to
Hmm.
get out of your comfort zone and get phone numbers from the other tired mom. And you have to create like, like a babysitting circle. And I have the kids on Mondays, so you can do groceries, and you have the kids on Tuesdays, so I can take a shower and just work it out. Get really smart and organized.
I feel like one would need to do this even if they weren't also pursuing a business too.
Sure. 100%. 100%.
Especially what you said on the family organizing board, because especially in our family, every child wants to help. They want to actually do something to contribute to the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't allow them to help, now you're kind of raising a freeloader, someone that doesn't want to be in exchange with their parents or with others. And it doesn't make sense to them. Like, why can't I help? And
Mm-hmm.
you have to actually put in the thought of, how can I let this little person help? Because they A, are more capable than you think, and B, they could do the smallest thing and that could still be help. It's not like you have to have them cook eggs or something like that. Although, like, my 5-year-old gets angry at me if I ever like crack and mix the eggs. Like, she wants to do that and she wants to stir everything up. And yes, in the beginning years, those weren't the best tasting eggs. But you help them and you coach them, and now you have someone that actually is contributing to the family, and they get so much joy out of it. But also, like, you're now raising someone that is going to think with that in so many different ways for the different groups they're part of.
100%. And I can't wait to hire my son to work for me. Like, he'll have his
I
chores
love
and
it.
he'll have his responsibility, but I can't wait to be like, here, do the client reach outs. Here's the list, hit the list. Here, help me edit this post. Like, I cannot
Hmm.
wait to put him to work in the business, because then it's like, hey, we're going to earn this trip, all expense paid trip to Hawaii. These are the sales we need. Let's go. And then,
Hmm.
we can have that family trip. So that's in my
Absolutely.
future.
So, Dharma is someone that's raising a family, taking care of a family, being a present mother, present wife, but also growing your business. You're juggling a lot. You're obviously like leveraging your family resources, but also your friends and everything. So you're doing a lot of things right. I think that's awesome. On the business side of things, especially with you being remote, and I imagine it's probably very dependent on social media, would you say,
Mhm.
like content creation and whatnot? So, kind of like putting everything else aside, what are some best practices that you've really adopted when it comes to growing social media, I guess, the right way, and also in a way that feeds into your business? Because I think even just women and men who aren't raising a family would love your insight on it, because you're doing that for yourself and on very limited time. So you must really be maximizing things and doing some very key things on that.
Yes, great question. So number one is quantity over quality. And I
Mm,
think that this will be battled, and you're going to have the two sides that believe quantity, but then others believe quality is more important. I believe quantity over quality, because part of doing the quantity is your quality will get better,
hmm.
especially in social media. Like, you're going to spend 3 hours on a post that maybe at the beginning gets 30 views, when you could have gotten 30 pieces of content that then got you 300 views,
Sure.
right? So quantity, quantity, quantity. And at the beginning, do it any way you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. But I would say I have a little system, and I have my apps on my phone put in a certain way so that it flows.
Mm.
And so I have my social media circle, like my routine, that sometimes I get it done in the morning. Sometimes it's 11 p.m. when I'm finally, doing the
Mm.
last thing. And I was just like, I got to do it. Which then I wake up and I'm cranky with my son. So I that's not the normal operating basis. It
Sure.
just, sometimes you got to burn the midnight oil.
Yeah.
Um, so then, I have my TikTok app, and I have to, if I open the app, I'm posting. I never open the app to scroll. I never open the
Hmm.
app for no, like, if the app is open, I better post something.
Yeah.
And so I'll post that same post. You can post, yeah, like your one piece of content can result in like 64 different pieces of content if you're smart about it,
Mm.
right? So then that goes onto my TikTok stories, and then it goes onto my Instagram, and then it goes on my Instagram stories, which then repost it to my Facebook, and my Facebook story, which also posted to Threads. And
Hmm.
then I do hire a VA, a virtual assistant. She works out of the Philippines, so the price, it's much more affordable. She's a fellow mom, so I love supporting her. And she'll text me, my son is sick, and I'm like, take the time you need, no rush. I can
Yeah,
support her.
that's
And
cool.
so I will send her pieces of content, like something like this. However, this is one piece of content, but we could probably get like 30 reels from it.
Sure.
So you always want to work smarter, not harder. And it's like, okay, so now you have these 30 pieces of content from this one thing. So she'll edit that for me. But then there's
Nice.
also an app called Opus Clip.
Hmm.
I think it's like $19 a month. I pay for that. And so I take long form videos and it clips them for you.
Hmm.
So you got to use that. And just whatever piece of content I have in front of me, it's like, how can I maximize it? Sometimes it's a video, but can I take excerpts and turn it into little quote posts?
Hmm.
And then you have 10 quote posts. And then
Yeah.
I send it to Love and she schedules it for me. But you could use an app called Metricool that allows you to schedule things across different platforms. That's what she uses for me.
Mm.
But
How
I'm
do you
delegating.
how do you spell that? What's the app?
METRI cool.
Oh,
Metri
okay.
cool.
Like metric, but
Metric.
metric
Yeah.
cool.
Metric cool.
Nice.
Metric cool. So that's something you can do. So you got to work harder, smarter, and use
And
the
harder.
product, the things that you have. And does that answer the question? But also like have like
Yeah,
a layout for you. So I have
sure.
from this app, it flows to this app, and this app, it flows to this app. And I
Yeah,
never open an app unless I'm going to post. Like if it's
that's cool.
open, I post, then I engage because engagement helps as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, it's a great routine and policy. I know people that go on these social media fasts because they can't like stop like consuming, but it is such a discipline point. So I'm getting from you is it's like there's the efficiency of having everything laid out. There's the productivity of not having to think about what you're going to do because you already have a routine baked and built in, so you can be consistent with it. You have
Yeah.
that policy to prevent yourself from doing things other than being productive on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and also just maximizing the amount of content you can post with every piece of content because you're right. It's not a one for one thing. Even if you make one thing, it's not limited to just sharing it on multiple platforms and you're one and done with it. You can make 60 plus pieces of content from one piece of content. So
Yep.
it's actually a lot less work than what people think it takes. But it also makes the whole idea of posting multiple times a day more doable
Mm-hmm.
because you'll hear like, hey, if you're just posting once a day, even if that's a step up from where you're at, that's great. But you're not going to really grow from once a day. You need to be doing 3 times a day or
Mm-hmm.
more. So
Yep.
I love
And
all
I
of
noticed
that.
that recently my follower count started going up.
Mm,
And it's because I had started posting three plus times a day. It's like the magic
yeah.
number, 3 to 5.
Yeah. And the cool thing about the quantity is that the quantity ensures you're going to get more views over the
Mm-hmm.
quality. And if you're doing the approach you said, where you have so many at bats of just doing it over and over again, you learn from each time you do it.
And then you use your insights. At the end of the week, it tells you your insights, and you're like, your top performing post was blah. So you
Hmm.
go and you study that post, and you're like, where was I? What was I wearing? What was the sound? What was the caption? What did I say? And I put it into ChatGPT, and I'm
Yeah.
like, give me my next content. You kind of start doing more like this. Like I'm
Smart.
very strategically in front of this pink window. I mean, this pink wall.
Yeah. I love it. Amazing, Dharma. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate just how many nuggets you
Hey,
had
hey,
to
hey.
offer. Hey, I
Tell
could be smarter. You're absolutely right.
I don't know who it is.
You didn't know who it is. Come say hi to my friend Alex. Let's have good manners.
I thought it was my dad.
Oh, he thought it was his dad. So now he's embarrassed. It's
It's
okay, honey.
totally fine. I'll take the hit for your dad. Now you can say
It's
something
okay.
nice to him.
He's a dad too, honey. He understands. He has a 5-year-old. Anyway, for us, it's getting close to bedtime too. So
It's all good. Well, I really want to thank you for everything you had to offer. Like I was saying, bunch of golden nuggets in this conversation. So I'm looking forward to what people have to say and take away from it. Would you have any parting words of wisdom or advice for maybe someone that is starting out where you started out or is going through what you were recently going through?
yes. First of all, thank you for having me. I love platforms to get to communicate my message. And my biggest thing is just don't give up, you know, and have that purpose so strong within you that you can just keep pushing and look at it as like a privilege. Like part of
Mm-hmm.
being a military spouse is I get to hear about some atrocious things, and it's like such a privilege that I can even build a business, that I
Sure.
can stay at home, that I have Wi-Fi, that I have social media. So, kind of like step outside of your bubble and look at your abundance, and then just go forth and create with it.
I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Dharma. I look forward to chatting with you more soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Alex.